To introduce yourself.
Okay, I can always fix it and trim it. I just want to make sure it was recording. Okay, hi, my name's Katie. I'm a counselor here at the Community Mental Health Center. What brings you in today?
Hi, I'm Nina. So I am just having a lot of, stress and kind of anxiety with school and work and family. And so I kind of just wanted to talk that out.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Nina. I'm glad you came in here today and reached out to someone. So you said with school and family, do you have any support really to help you or anything like that?
I guess I have some support. I have a couple of good friends, but none of them really live close to me. And then with my family, there's always just fighting and, there's not really good communication basis. And so I kind of just feel like I'm always talking to like a wall. It just doesn't really help all the time.
Yeah,
So I kind of like I have support, but not really.
I understand that. So you've got school and you said you're stressed out with that. Is there anything else going on besides school that's stressing you out?
Yeah, to balance it with, work and being a full-time student and, all of these assignments piling up. And, of course, I have to work to make money to go to school. So trying to figure that out.
It's understandable. That's a lot of pressure on someone, especially when you've got so much to do between work and school and when you don't have very much support. Is there anything specific that you usually do to kind of help you when you're stressed out? Like any self-care, anything like that that you do?
So at that, I'm not good at taking time for myself. So I kind of struggle with that sometimes, trying to find time to, put my needs first. But when I do, I sometimes journal, but I don't keep up with that regularly like I probably should. And I just don't really have the best coping mechanism. So I'm kind of hoping that's maybe something that you could help me with.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Is there, have you ever talked to a counselor before?
No, this is actually the first time ever talking to a counselor, so I'm not quite sure how this goes. But I thought that it was probably time to talk to someone and kind of get some help. Um, and just to get a good balance because right now I just feel like everything's kind of, all over the place and I can't find a good way to get out of it.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you came in today and that you're seeking help. That's always a good first start. Was there anything that pushed you, anybody that kind of helped you or, suggested you come here, or just you kind of looked and decided that you wanted to do it for yourself?
So I've been talking about it, and then I talked to a really good coworker of mine. And she, kind of talked about her experiences with me and told me that she thought it would be really beneficial for me. And that, sometimes getting help is the best way to do it. So she really pushed me, but I had kind of already been thinking about it.
Well, that's good. That's always, taking an initiative and going out is always a good first step. Uh, so what else? Is there anything else that I should know about you?
So I guess like the really big thing is that like I'm constantly busy, I have work, school, family. I'm trying to keep up with, a social life. I'm pretty young. I'm only 21. So, balancing becoming an adult, plus also still feeling like I'm young and not really sure what to do. Um, and then, I have a lot of friends, but they live out of state. So I don't really have that good like social scene. And the friends that I do have here aren't necessarily the best influence other than some of my coworkers. So, I really struggle with having positive relationships and coping mechanisms and that sort of thing.
Oh, I can see that. That makes sense. Is there anything that you think specifically could help you to handle your stress better? Or
Um,
is there anything you've tried in the past maybe that's worked or hasn't worked?
right. So past, like I've not always had the best coping mechanisms. I tend to like get frustrated and kind of shut down and, close myself off from the people in my life. So that obviously has not worked. I try to journal, like I said, listen to music sometimes. I really like nature, so I try and go out on walks in nature. And I kind of find myself, so like usually I want to talk through things with someone, but I find that it's not necessarily the healthiest way because, just talking through something ends up turning into gossip and ends up turning into a really negative experience. So that's maybe not the best way to do it. So yeah, I've kind of tried a couple different ways. But nothing really seems to help. I've done face masks and like that kind of thing, like what people typically say, but that doesn't seem to relax me like it does other people.
Yeah. Well, if something like walks or journaling or music or something like that helps you, that's always a good start and maybe something you could try to do more of. And maybe that would help a little bit. I know when you're stressed out, it's a little hard to find time, especially if you're so busy with school and work
Mhm.
and everything. Sometimes it's hard to find time to do those things, but maybe, you can try to plan a little bit of time in the day, even if it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes, to write in your journal how you're feeling
Right.
at the end of the day, of, maybe how your day was or something good that happened to you or something like
Mhm.
that would be a good start.
Right, definitely. Yeah, I think a lot of it is just like whenever I take time for myself, I tend to, start to think down on myself like, oh wow, you could be doing this. And instead you're just doing a walk. Like you should be doing this and you should be doing that. And I think that's also where a lot of like the non-family support happens, is because they always tell me like, oh, you're just being lazy, you don't want to do your work, this and that. Like, why are you going on walks when you should be doing this? So I think like a lot of that negative, family aspect and not really having a good support system really plays into that, because I do want to take time for myself and I do want to have those positive methods, but a lot of the time it gets shut down by the people by me, so I don't really know how to work through that.
And you have to, part of taking care of yourself is taking time for yourself and doing something. If you're stressed out and you need 5 minutes or 10 minutes or a half hour to take a walk, whatever it is you need, you have to take care of your mental health. That's part of it. And if you don't take care of your mental health, that messes with so many other things that can cause you to be unhappy and stress out even more. So you definitely have to take care of yourself and do the things that you can to make yourself feel better.
Hmm.
So do you think that you said you've got some kind of that your family is negative and had some kind of negative comments? Do you think that that's
Yeah.
had an effect on you and how you do things and your stress level and things like that?
Yeah, I definitely would, that has had an effect on me. I definitely see myself thinking of myself in a less positive way. My relationships with others have turned very negative. In my dating life, I haven't had really positive relationships because like I haven't ever really seen one demonstrated. So that's really been a struggle. So healthy, positive relationships has really been hard. Um, and definitely, when my family is fighting around me or saying all these negative things, it really makes me think negatively and really just makes me even more stressed out and anxious about what I'm doing. So yeah, I definitely could see what you're saying. And I do think that like it has had an effect on me.
Being around negativity can make it harder for you to stay positive and make you see things that way. And you definitely got to see things positively to have a better outlook.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I agree. And I think that's something that I just really struggle with. And so that's something I've been trying to work with, but I don't really know the right way to do it. And so that's part of like why I'm here, is I really want help figuring out those outlets and figuring out those different ways, um, that I can be more positive and, really change those things in my life.
Absolutely. I'm glad that you see that, and and that's the first step, is to seeing what's going on and what you
Mhm.
kind of need to do. And I appreciate that you've shared all of this with me. It can be a big help. That can help a lot too. Just, opening up to someone and talking about what's going on can make it easier and help you see what changes, could benefit you.
Right. And that's kind of what I want to do. And, I realize that you have to take it one step at a time. And so this is kind of my first step of, really getting to where I want to be. And so it's definitely hard for me to open up, but I think it's something that I kind of have to do. And so I'm hoping with your help and guidance that I'll be able to do that.
Yeah. Do you think that with your schedule and your work and school that this will be something you'll want to do every week, to kind of make a plan and set a day that you can come in every week and we can talk, or Zoom, whichever way works for you?
Yeah, I definitely think, it's going to be hard to make sure I keep that schedule, but I think that this is something important and it'll help me have less stress later on. So even though it's going to be difficult right now, especially to make sure that I'm taking that time for myself to do this. But I do think it'll be something that'll be beneficial. And so my plan is to keep doing it. So I hope that's kind of where I go. And I mean, already talking with you, I can feel better. So I think it'll be something that I definitely want to continue.
Okay, that sounds like something that we can figure out what works for you and when it'll work in your schedule. Even if it's not necessarily every week that works for you, if it's maybe every other week right now because of school, or if something changes, we can figure out how to do it and what works. And what you need too, that's important. What you need and what's going to work for you. And I think too that we can work too on what strategies help, and maybe if it's not the face mask or something that other people like, that's okay, because everybody's got different things that work for them and that they like. And it seems like you've kind of got a little bit of idea of what you like with walks and music and and journaling, and that's something that'd be good. Or even if you're at work, if you get breaks and there's somewhere that, even if it's 5 minutes, that you go outside and sit outside and enjoy the weather, since it's getting nicer now, that maybe that would help. Could be
right.
Even if you don't have, maybe you don't always have 20 minutes to go for a walk every day, but you have 5 minutes that would at least be a little bit and could maybe help clear your mind. Would be definitely.
Yeah, I really appreciate what you had to say. And I do think you make some really good points. And I'm glad that you can see that, like, I'm starting down that path of, realizing coping strategies and ways to, reduce my stress. And that you did say that, sometimes like face masks aren't for everyone. Cause that's definitely something that, like, people have pushed on me. Well, if you're stressed, just go do this because that's what helps. And it's not what helps for me. So I don't really know how to like explain that to them. So I do appreciate that you said that.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got different things that work for them. I personally don't like face masks either, so I understand where you're coming. That does nothing for me. I feel like more stressful trying to do all that. So I totally understand. You got to do what works for you, what helps you, and if there's something that works, or if not, and we can talk about other things that maybe would work. So
Definitely.
Is there anything else that you feel like is going on that, maybe you need to talk about, or is causing you stress in your life? I
think a lot of it is just, focusing on positive relationships and reducing my stress in healthy ways, and not necessarily turning to like bad, negative habits. I definitely, tend to, I'm trying to think of how to explain it. So I definitely turn to, unhealthy habits with, relationships and actions and, what I'm doing, how I'm eating. those sort of things really tend to be, unhealthy. So that's something that, I think is something that I need to work on.
Okay. How do you do with like lists and things like that? If you keep track of things, does that work for you? Like you said, you like to journal. So if you are maybe saying, okay, well, this is some things that happened this week or today that I need to work on, would that help you maybe for the next day and for, following days to help you see the negatives and things positives that you need to work on?
Yeah. Sorry, there's someone in the background.
You're okay.
So I think that would definitely help. But at the same time, lists kind of make me even more stressed out. So I do like to journal, but I think lists and that would make me even more stressed out. Because I just start thinking about, okay, well, what about this and what about that? And all those sorts of things. And so on one hand, I do think it would be helpful, but on the other, I think that it could be even more detrimental, especially when it comes to like eating and that. Like I tend to make lists and tend to stress over it. And so that can just be really stressful for me.
Well, that's good to know. Something to avoid then, maybe. So what
Mhm.
if we maybe, if you can journal, maybe every day, even if it's just something little that you write, something positive that happened to you that day, or
Right.
something negative that you want to talk about. And then the next time we meet, you'll have that and we can kind of go from there and work on positive things that you've seen and also negative things you've seen that you want to work on.
Yeah, I think that would be really helpful to at least, jot down something every day, even if it's just a positive thought, and to really be able to focus on that and to share that with you, to develop that. I think that would be really helpful for me.
Okay. I think maybe that would be something good that, could be a goal to work on for next time. And
Mhm.
then we can discuss kind of how it's going and where to go from there, what you feel like your needs are then from that point and
Right.
what can help.
Definitely. I think that would be helpful.
Well, good. Do you um do you think that you maybe want to meet every week um for now, or what kind of does your schedule look like as far as setting up a meeting for next time?
Right. I think every week, at least in the beginning, to really establish, figuring everything out would be helpful. I know it might be stressful for me at first, but like I think it'll help get me into that routine and really focusing on positive things. So I think every week for now would be really good. And then maybe as we begin to make progress, dropping it down. But I think once a week at least, for right now would be really helpful.
Do Mondays work for you if we kind of stick with that for now, or is there a better day that would work for you instead?
Yeah, I think Mondays would work really well for me. That's my day off that I have, and that's kind of the only day that I do take to myself. And try and focus on, all of the things I have to do, but like really organize it. So I think that would be helpful to do it on Mondays.
Okay, well, good. If that works, then we can plan on meeting next Monday at 4 o'clock. Does that work for you?
Yeah, I think that should work.
Okay, and then if anything changes in between now and then, you can let me know and we can switch it if we need to or anything
Mhm.
like that. And uh, otherwise, then I think we can plan on meeting next Monday at 4. And Zoom works for you. We can set it up the same way.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful, and that all sounds really good to me.
Good. I think then that, maybe work on journaling and we'll talk about that next week and,
Mhm.
how the last week's been and go from there.
Okay, that sounds like a plan to me.
Okay, well, it was really nice to meet you, Nina. I'm glad that you came in and that you're seeing seeing that you need some help and that you reached out today.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, and I'm glad I did this.
Well, I'm glad you did too. Well, I will see you next week.
Okay,
All right, bye.
bye.